better. Dude. No, your fucking thing's not funny. That's not good. No. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna fucking do? This is ridiculous. This is goddamn ridiculous. Yeah, just stop. Fuck. No. Right. Fucking Hanna-Barbera ass guitar part thing. Fucking Looney Tunes. Bullshit, man. Fuck. This is episode 1 of Jason Fifi's talking about, loving about, living about things podcast. That is the Talk About, Loving About, Living About Things podcast. I am your host, Dr. Jason Fifi. I don't call myself doctor very often. That is incredibly pompous for a guy that does not have a medical degree. My PhD is in a thing I don't really want to talk about too much, so I'm very sorry that I said that. And I'm not going to edit it out because I don't believe in second chances in life. I think you got your first chance to say the wrong thing, and you said the wrong thing, and that's you got to live with them consequences. You know what I mean? I don't think you get to take it back. Sterling, guy that owned a basketball team and said the N-word on a phone. You know, I don't think you get to take things back in life. I don't think that your apology means that you're done. Kramer, Michael Richards, yelling the N-word, you know? Doctor is different than the N-word, though. I'll say that. Overuse of the word doctor should be avoided, so they're similar in that way. But you don't get in trouble for calling someone a doctor, you know? Like, it's not bad to call someone a doctor. It doesn't ruin anybody's day if you accidentally call them a doctor, right? It's not a bad thing to be accidentally called. You know, like if you're a nurse and somebody's like, doctor, it makes your day. It's great. They think that you're competent. That is great. But if you're a doctor and somebody calls you a nurse, you know, or worse, they could call you the other N-word and it would be real bad. It would ruin your day. Maybe. And I mean, if you were white, it probably wouldn't bother you that much because you can't really bother white people that much, right? White people are pretty unbotherable as a race of people. And that doesn't make me a racist to say that about white people, but they are pretty unbotherable. You cannot flap a white... I mean, they get real uptight about things, generally speaking. They ask to speak to managers, and they get real offended on Facebook. You know, if you're not literally a fascist, you know, they're like, "What? You're not a." They need their safe spaces. The white people, they love their fascism. You know. Sorry, didn't mean to get all political. I don't remember the name of this podcast anymore, and I think I've gone completely off the rails. And you know what I think is funny is nothing anymore. My life is without joy. Very few things make me laugh or make me find joy in this mortal coil. You know, when I was a little kid, I had this peace, you know what I mean? This peace that passed all understanding, right? Like it surpassed it. It was like, hey, all understanding, fuck you, I'm going past you, right? It passed all of understanding. I had that peace, right? That was good. And now, though, I'm grown, you know, I'm like old and grown, and it's hard to find joy in much of anything. You know what I mean? Where like driving fast in a car used to be like the height of like physical eroticism for me. Like just at the core of my being, it made me tingly, you know? Made my cunt all wet, you know? And But now I seldom even run stop signs, because I'm scared of killing people. Because I falsely assume that everybody holds their lives as precious as I hold mine. And I think that's a criminal. I think that is philosophically a problem. Like I think that is that's chauvinistic of me to think that everybody values their life. I think that's wrong. That's really horrible to think that low of everybody, that they think life is precious. Like how shitty of a person would you be if you thought life was precious? That would be really shitty. And then I'm thinking that about everybody all the time. Like, I think everybody thinks life is precious, clearly, or else I would do the morally correct thing and run all of the stop signs. And I'm not doing that, as I stated previously. I carefully stop and make sure not to kill anybody. Which is the height of I'm imposing my own judgment onto everybody, thinking that they enjoy their lives or that they hold their lives in value of some kind, whereas of course they don't, or else why would they be in a car or doing anything that's not just raw, ridiculous hedonism, maxing a credit card out on heroin and prostitutes until their days are over. That's what you would do if you thought life was worth living. You would live it to its maximum. You would do heroin and prostitutes and pork belly, right? Like that's what we would do for fun. All of the last, however long the rest of your life was, it wouldn't matter, right? You would end consequence. That's what you would do if you thought life was of value, but it's clearly not. Right? Life is clearly not of value. Which is why I'm so precious about my own life and my own mortality. I'm so scared to die or like run out of money, Or else I would do drugs, I don't really know what I would do. Like if I thought life was precious, right? Like if I thought my life was precious and like I needed to enjoy it, I would, I don't know what I would do differently, honestly. I like the pacing I've chosen for myself. I've got like a house and dogs and a wife and, go up in front of people for like 45 minutes to an hour at a time. And I tell them my jokes. Right? Tell them about an hour worth of jokes. I talk about things, talk about the world. I don't do that when I do comedy. I don't believe that stand-up comedy should ever do that. I don't think you should talk about current events in stand-up. That's why I'm doing a podcast, is so I can talk about nothing and everything all at the same time for a little while every single day for you people. But when I do comedy, those of you who've seen me do comedy, I'm very tight, composed, somber. No, I've got an incredibly tight rhythm and I murder for 45 minutes. I'm probably the strongest living stand-up comedian. But what I meant to say back there about enjoying life and stuff, if I thought life was precious and I thought that it needed to be immediately enjoyed, because of course tomorrow is not promised to us. The sun does not need to come up and we might die, If I thought that humankind and the world was precious and all this time that we have is somehow fleeting, I think that I'm too out of practice with, I'm out of touch with my human desires, right? I think I'm 34, so I think I am I'm old enough now that I'm in the habit of trying not to die. Like I'm in the habit of not enjoying life as much as I can for fear of dying. Right? Like if I was fully objective and like in the whole game theory of uh, extracting maximum pleasure out of life, I don't even know how to empathize with that as a position. Like, I don't even know what a person would do if they were just raw animal lovers of life. They would, like, the first thing that comes to mind is entirely based on our social structure, right? It's literature tells you you would fuck and fight and do drugs, right? Like that's what literature has told us, right? We don't know that. In your soul, search it, search your feelings, search your animal nature, and you will not find this deep desire to fuck and fight and do drugs, right? And anywhere in you're not finding that in the top, the top of your lizard brain. When was the last time you saw a lizard do drugs or a dog do drugs? They don't do it. That's an elevated concept. It's something where we say, I plan to do drugs, and then we do the drugs, I don't judge people that do drugs. That is not beneath us, right? So I really don't know what I would do if I decided to have a pure lust for life. Maybe, I wouldn't like play music. You don't play, play music. That's a planned thing, just like drugs. Having a job, that's a planned thing with delayed gratification, just like drugs, Fighting. Going out, getting yourself into a fight, finding a justified target and fighting somebody, that's a delayed concept, exactly like doing drugs or eating a wonderful meal. All forms of hedonism are not immediate. There's no hedonism that's immediate. All things are delayed gratification if you decide on what delayed means. And this podcast became unfunny a long time ago, and yet I continue to talk. Maybe talking is the raw animal human stupidness that I crave in my lizard brain. Even though the lizard brain of a human doesn't speak, it just wants or does not want, right? It wants and avoids. That's your lizard brain. It's fear or gravitation. It's fucking and fighting, fucking and fleeing, like fucking, fleeing, fighting. Those are the things your low brain desires of your body to do for it, right? But maybe elevated moments of your real human brain. Maybe those elevated moments are nothing more than manifestations of your lizard brain run through the rose-colored like audio glasses, I don't know, of that brain talking to your front brain through the filter of itself, saying, time is fleeting, fuck, flight, fee, flee, fee, fee. And then it saying back to the lizard brain, but I gotta have a job, and I gotta play music, and I gotta do drugs. All of these elevated human concepts. And the lizard brain says, I don't know what drugs are. I don't know what a job is, and I kind of know what food is, but I don't call it food. I just say smelly, good, eat, right? Smell, good, eat. Smell, bad, run. Smell, good, eat, right? That's the lizard brain. It's a binary decision with smell. It's either scary or it's eatable. Those are the two things that the lizard brain can smell. Same thing with audio, It sounds like run away, or it sounds like pray, or it sounds like the sun is coming out and making the grass bend differently, and the way all the water droplets are slowly starting to evaporate into the sky allows the weight of the grass to lift a little bit. And that creaking is something that I walk towards so that I can stand fully naked in the sun and warm my blood. And then I can run fast enough to catch a butterfly and eat that motherfucker. My name is Jason Fifi, and this has been episode 1 of the podcast. Come check me out on the road. I'll be in Pensacola near the end of October. I'm not sure on the dates because that paper is not in front of me, and I am really bad at plugs. But check me out on Facebook.com/JasonFifi or Facebook.com/JasonFifiComedy. Twitter, all that, same everything. If you just Google Jason Fifi, JASONFIFI, you will find me. And you wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't already knew who the fuck I was. And if you don't know, you should ask somebody, because I'm the best stand-up comic on the planet, barring nobody.